digitizing the manufacturing process, production, smart production. So production we have digitized with various dashboards, with communication, every data will be visible everywhere. People will be able to see what is happening in the shop floor, and everything is made visible through dashboards. So that is the first step, digitizing. And then we are going for, improving the process. How to improve the process and make it self-process and optimize. That is the next step we are going in. Now we have started and we are working on it. That is smart process. And smart product also we have started and working on already. Traceability of the product. That also we have started. So smart process and smart product and smart production. All these three we have started implementing. Okay. Now. I told about OEE. What is overall equipment effectiveness? As I told you, any manufacturing process has got a measure of performance of efficiency and effectiveness. Okay, that can be measured by overall equipment effectiveness. OEE means overall equipment effectiveness. Okay. So in a manufacturing process, suppose a manufacturing process has to work for 8 hours, 480 minutes. A manufacturing shift will be having 8 hours. In that 8 hours, we will be having a scheduled break time of 30 minutes. That 30 minutes may be shift beginning. We have to clean the machine for 10 minutes. After that, we will be having a tea break for 10 minutes. And after lunch, in the afternoon, we will be having another tea break for 10 minutes. So these are scheduled breaks. So of the 8 hours, 480 minutes, 30 minutes is the scheduled break time. So only 450 minutes is available for actual production. So scheduled production time, scheduled production time or planned production time is only 450 minutes. In that 450 minutes, whether I am producing to the full extent of 450 minutes or if there is a change, that will be decided by various losses. The losses are available loss, performance loss, and quality loss. Okay. So for that 450 minutes, the machine is available for some period. So it is not available for production. It is not available means what? The machine is under breakdown. The machine is under breakdown. There are some problem in the machine, so we cannot operate the machine. So that can be one downtime. Another unavailable downtime can be material not available. I have the machine ready, but the material required for manufacturing, the raw material has not come. It is not ready. So because of raw material, I am losing 10 minutes. So that is non-availability of machine. So non-availability of machine is breakdown. Non-availability of material, that is material not available. That is also non-availability. And I am having the material, I am having the machine, but when I am changing from one variety to another variety, I am not able to use the machine for my production. So that change over time from one variety to another time, we are going for personalized production and high variety. In that case, the change over time should be minimum, unless we will be having the machine which will not be productive. So change over time also will be a non-available time. So all these are non-available times. So 50 minutes is going, 450 minutes is only available. In that 50 minutes is going because of material not available, machine not available, or change over time. So I am losing the 50 minutes. So I am left with only 400 minutes. Okay. In that 400 minutes, I am supposed to produce 40 products. So cycle time for one product is 10 minutes. The cycle time for one product is 10 minutes. In that 400 minutes, I am supposed to produce 400 divided by 10, 40 products. Okay. But I am producing only 39 products. That is performance. So one is availability, second is performance. Within the available time. So I have planned for this 450 minutes, but because of so many non-availability, I am able to have the available time as only 400 minutes. In that 400 minutes, I should have produced 40 products. But I have produced only 39 products. Why? Because it may be because of reduced speed. I have to work at 100% I have to work at 100 RPM, but I am working at 90 RPM, or I have to work at 1 meter per minute. I am working at 0.9 meter per minute because of some problem in the machine or in the material or something. So I am working at a lesser performance. I am not working at 100% design cycle time. Design cycle time means what? I have to produce 10 products I have to produce one product in 10 minutes. But I am taking more than 10 minutes by producing one product. That is my efficiency. That is my performance. So that my performance is low. It is not 100%. So I am getting 39. After 39 I have produced, only 38 are passed. One number is rejected. So that is quality rejection. Now you understand? So when I have that 450 minutes without downtime, if one product can be made in 10 minutes, I should have produced 45 parts. But because of non-availability, I will lose 50 parts. Within the available part, because of my performance, I have lost one part. Even that after producing, we have rejected one part. So instead of getting 45, I am getting only 38. So this is my equipment efficiency. This is my manufacturing efficiency and effectiveness. This is known as OEE. So there are various laws: availability laws, performance laws, and quality laws. All these laws are calculated using this formula. So OEE is calculated using this availability into performance into quality. Availability is available hours divided by planned hours. That is 400 divided by 450. 450 is the plan. After downtime 50 minutes, only 400 is available. So 400 divided by 450. In 400, I used to have produced 40, but I have produced only 39. That is my performance. In that 39, only 38 is passed. That is my quality. So this is represented in percentage. 400 by 450 is 88%. 39 40 is 97%. 13 by 90 is 97.5%. All this multiplied together, 83.5. 83.5 is my overall equipment. So this is how my manufacturing process is being evaluated. The world class manufacturing is having 85 to 90. This OEE for world class manufacturing, it is 85 to 90. Okay. So earlier you have seen, we were in the range of around 65, we have come to around 75, now we are progressing towards 80, like that we are improving upon it. So using this we are able to move forward because we are able to react immediately and non-value added time is reduced and the system information clearly visible everywhere and we will be able to interact. So we will be that is how we are transdisciplinary. How transdisciplinary is coming here? The machine man operator will be trained to maintain the machine also. So maintenance man, once he get the information, he will communicate to the supervisor or the operator, do this, and they are adequate enough, and they will be able to do the changes required. So that is transdisciplinary. Okay. So like that, overall equipment effectiveness is improved. This overall equipment effectiveness, for the purpose of digitization, we start calculating all these available hours, quality produced, rejected quantity. We start calculating all the data and start calculating OEE. It will be cumbersome. So instead of that, in this formula, we have striked off what are the common factors: available hours, quantity okay. All the common factors are striked off. The OEE is only okay quantity into design cycle time divided by planned hours. In this formula, design cycle time and planned hours both are constant for any manufacturing product. For this product, this is the design cycle time and planned hours is same. It is only 450 minutes daily. So these two are same. So what we need to do? How much OK quantity is being produced daily or every hour? Know that we will be able to calculate the OEE. So when we get the data of OK quantity, we get the data of OK quantity. As I shown here, in each end of line test, after every sub-assembly, after every motor, it will be tested. So we will know at the end of every hour or at the end of every shift how many products have been passed. So that will be an indication. So only that is enough to calculate the OEE. So we get the information from this and go to calculator. Previously, we used to have so many cumbersome calculations. Now everything is visible and dynamic and real time. So like that, we are able to monitor. So now we are able to understand what is OE also. Now, next concept what we have introduced is the concept of speaking machine. What is the concept of speaking machine? See, as I told, for the overall equipment effectiveness, we need to for overall equipment effectiveness, downtime we have reduced. Changeover time is a downtime. It is not available for production, it is a changing over. When the number of varieties are more, in one of our line, we have got 50 varieties in a single line. It will be taking running 50 varieties in a line. We have to change over from one variety to another variety. The changeover time was very high. So what we did, modify the mechanical elements. We redesign the mechanical elements so that the changeover elements can be reduced. Avoid using fasteners. Instead of using fasteners, screws and other things, quick snap, like a bulb fit. You put in a bulb, you rotate it, it fits in. Like that, we develop our mechanical system and simplify the changeover procedure. But still, the operator is not able to remember for the 50 varieties. For this variety, this is the position. For this variety, this is the position. He is not able to remember. For that, he needs some assistance. See, when previously we are having permanent operator for one station. One operator will be there for his lifetime. Once he joined the duty at the age of 20, till his retirement at the age of 58 or 60, he will be operating only in one particular station. Then he will be able to remember all those things. But now that is not the case. We are having temporary operators and operators are moving from one station to another station. All those things are happening. So operators cannot remember all these things. I have provided a checklist. They have to go through the checklist and this time consuming. So what we thought is, why not to use the advancement in technology and convert it as a speaking machine. What happens? So previously we have analog test, analog distributable, analog control board, everything we digitized with a PLC, and there will be a display, visual display here. In that, it will give a audio visual assistance to the operator. It will give visual display until this part is to be replaced with this part. So a visual display will come and the operator will do that. After doing the change, we will confirm. Once the confirmation, next step will come. So step by step guidance will be there. So step by step will be guided through this with a visual and audio indication. And once the operator is doing that, he will give the confirmation, then the next step will come. So this way, it has become interactive and the operator is able to set it faster. So this is the concept of speaking machine. So this is to aid the human operator, we are given this. Okay. So what is the learning so far from what we have done? Digitize daily routines, daily routine management, tracking the data, writing the logbook, okay, calculating the OE, attending the daily routine maintenance problems, all those things. First is digitize daily routines. Digitize daily routines. This can happen in the shop floor, or it can happen in our home, or it can happen in our office also. There are also certain routine activities we are doing in our daily activities. Those routine activities, if we could digitize and automate, that is the first step. Automating and digitizing and then automating the routine activities. That is the first step. The next step is digitize the equipments to aid the humans, to help the humans, like the speaking machine. I have cobot helping the operator. So all those things. Digitize equipment to help the operator. So these are the two concepts which we have implemented. So these are the first step. Then for what we are thinking is using a augmented reality to help the operator in inspection or in operation. In inspection means what? After the motor is built, I told there's a firewall section that the operator will be checking each and everything, whether the label is fixed properly, whether the boards are dated properly, everything will be checked. The visual check often tends to forget or do mistake by spelling. When you start doing 100 components at once, 100 components in a day, there are chances of him missing. To avoid that mistakes, why not you give you augmented reality Google Glass? He is using the Google Glass, and the Google Glass will be guiding him what are the mistakes, and whether he is taking also to be monitored and be started. So this can be used for management. So this can be inspection. Suppose you are having a soldering operation. The augmented reality can help the soldering process, manual soldering process, whether he is feeding the process properly, whether he is doing everything, whether it can even feed up to only this. Stop feeding the wire. All those can be done. So it can be helping for manufacturing and also inspection. Augmented reality, we are having that concept, working with the college students and other institutions to make it happen. It is still in the stage of initial state. It is still in the certain problems we have to overcome, and this is the concept we are planning. Next is to train the operator, that is virtual reality. So in a virtual environment, you will be able to understand. So car driving, you need not go for driving the physical car first. You can sit in a virtual environment where you will be facing the car driving, and then you will go to the virtual actual physical world and then start driving. So like that, welding operation, how welding can be done, can be given here. So that also we are developing. So Microsoft you have used on Watson, that we are using for skill dependent jobs. And third concept is digital twins. Digital twin is we have a physical element, we develop a digital replica of that element. It can be a product or it can be a machine. Suppose I have been trying for both. One of our product we are fitting in the vehicle, and the same product digital simulation we are having, we are trying to have in our lab, and we will be fitting in sensors. That's a rectifier in our product. The rectifier is failing. So we want to understand on what condition rectifier is failing. So we will fit in sensors on the rectifier of the product and fit in the product in the vehicle, and it will be running in the road. And we will collect the sensors. And the sensor data will be digitally analyzed with the software. It can be CAD/CAM software, or it can be Pro-E, or any software can be linked, and all these data can be linked there, and it will be analyzed, and we will be able to analyze on what condition it is failing, that we will be able to detect. That kind of digital twins also we are planning. So these are our planning we are going now. So this is the general step we have evolved so far. So the general step is, there are 7 steps. 7 steps for smart manufacturing. The first step is digitize the data. From analog data, you go to digitize. From daily routines, digitize. Then you start communicating. So after digitizing, you start communicating. After communicating, you see what is happening. So these are the first 3 stages. So this is called digitizing and communication phase. The digitizing and communication phase, first we have digitizing, that is we have cyber physical systems, and the cyber physical systems start communicating to the rest of the world, and we are able to see through dashboards what is going to happen. So this is the first digitizing and communication phase. This is what we have implemented so far. Next phase is artificial intelligence and machine learning phase. In this, there are 4 steps. First step is, so far you are seeing only dynamic, you are seeing only dashboards. What is the dashboard? The dashboard will be telling like this. What is your output? What is your process parameter? What is the output? So there is graphs, there is things like this. Only information will be coming in the dashboard. Decision will be given by the humans only. So decision information started coming. We started seeing information. Understanding of the history is only in the hands of humans so far. But next step is, the data whatever we are getting, we will be able to understand the history. That is historical understanding. And after that, from the historical understanding, you will be able to predict what will happen. And after predicting, you must be able to take action. We must be able to optimize. That is next step. So these are the 4 steps. Understanding the history. Understanding the history means what? How many times the bearing is failure? Okay, this bearing has failure once in 3 months. Or this bearing has failure once in 1,000 numbers of product. So that is the history. Then predict future. Heading feature what? Okay. How this is going to, this is, it will tell after another 5 comments it may fail. It will tell. But instead of that, if you are able to understand the bearing failure is because of some vibration in the machine or some condition in the machine, this condition is being also monitored, and based on that condition, you will be able to predict, okay, this vibration has come like this, the time period has come like this, so it is going to failure. So like that, if you are able to predict, that means much better prediction. And next is what? Take action. And next is we have to correct, change the bearing or take action for improving the bearing, and become robust. This is self-optimization. How to improve the vibration level. How to improve the vibration level to improve the bearing life. That is self-optimization. So like that, we need to move forward. So this is the 7th step towards smart manufacturing. This you can remember this as a thumb rule. This is what we have ever so far. Okay, this quote from ancient. I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots. Do you understand what? In this 7th step, what is happening? The human thinking is being given to automated thinking, artificial intelligence, everything machine learning, everything you are allowing the machine to take decision. You are allowing the machine to tell what has to be done. So in future, what will happen? The future generation, not us, the future generation, what they will think, only machine will tell, what the machine tells, we will do. That is enough. They will think like that. So they will think like that. So human interaction will be reduced, and we will focusing on the machines which are not just a piece of things. Like a computer, when the computer came in, junk in, junk out. That is the concept we had. The computer can give the process the data and give the information in which it is programmed. That is how it can do. It cannot do miracles like thinking human. It is not possible. So many technologies are coming, so many algorithms are coming, but it is not happening. But what happens? We think, suppose you use a calculator, 1 plus 1 is 2. For 1 plus 1 equals to 2, my father used to tell me he doesn't even have a calculator. But now I need a calculator. My granddaughter, she depends upon calculator and the cell phone. What happens? The cell phone, she is using a smartphone, she is touching. And he is touching a wall. Why this is not moving? In the phone it is moving. Like that, that kind of thinking has come in. So people start become addicted to what they think. So you don't think. So he is having that fear. That is what. Okay. Okay. Now, so far I told about revolution. Next, let us come about revolution. So, once a revolution has happened, once a technology is adopted and implemented, it needs to be evolved for further improvement. Suppose it is a Stone Age. The Stone Age weapon itself has undergone so many evolutions from this shape to this shape. So many evolutions over so many periods, and it has got perfected. So that is called evolution. What is the need of evolution? Need of evolution is whenever you are adopting a new technology or whenever you are implementing a new idea, there is an inevitable gap between what is realized and what is perceived. Jovially, if you see, I am going for a hunting, I am aiming at a tiger or I am aiming at a deer, but what I get is only a rabbit. Okay, so this is what is foreseen and what is realized. புலி பிடிக்க போய் முயல் பிடிச்சிட்டு வந்தேன் அப்படின்னு தமிழ்ல there is a பழமொழி. Okay, அந்த மாதிரி foreseen and what is realized need not be same. There is an inevitable gap. Sometimes they will be same, many times there is a gap. What is the need of the gap? It is because the people who develop the product depends upon our historical knowledge, and the historical knowledge is not adequate enough. It will not give the full knowledge about the technology or the idea. Only after realizing we may have to further improve upon it. Okay, so this is the concept of evolution. So evolution is either the newly developed product is not meeting our expectation, or there is an existing product My expectation out of the existing product is changing. So I need to improve the existing process. So evaluation can happen on two conditions. The newly developed product is not meeting the expectation, or the existing product is not able to meet my changing expectations. In both these cases, I need to evolve the product to make it more efficient and effective. To have that happen, it is not enough to have an idea or method of manufacturing it. You must go understand the product process causal relationship. There's a product, there's a process. What is the cause and effect relationship between the process and the product? That we must understand. Only when we understand that, we'll be able to understand. You'll be able to evolve the improvement. And also you must be able to understand the functional. What is the function of each and every operation? What is the function of every product? So functional relation and cause and effect relations. Only if we know these two, we will be able to improve the existing product. For that, it requires bottom-up problem-solving approach and statistically designed experiment, deep analysis, so many things, case-based reasoning, so many things are available. We have to use this. So all these things are, all these data are available in industrial engineering or statistics or mathematics or in science. What we need to do in Industry 4.0, we need to adopt these methodologies and automate it using electronics, communication and IT. Using electronics, communication and IT, we have to automate these already known problem solving technologies and make it happen automatically. And that is the process we need to do. That we need to do for this happening, going beyond this. 4, 5, 6, 7. For going 4, 5, 6, 7 artificial intelligence, machine learning phase, we must adopt all these things. Improve. So that for that we are using